Following a modestly successful release, The Shawshank Redemption has gone on to become one of the most beloved and acclaimed movies ever made. It often sits atop all-time best lists and boasts performances for the ages, from Tim Robbins as quiet new inmate Andy Dufresne and Morgan Freeman as wizened lifer Red. The cinematic adaptation of Stephen King's novella is a simply told, deeply affecting drama set in the imposing prison namesake, and at its core is a film about the impossibility of caging the human spirit. As beloved as the movie is, though, there are some secrets about Shawshank many fans don't know. Framing a relationship. While many filmmakers have put Stephen King's stories onto celluloid, the author hasn't always been a fan of these adaptations. For example, he famously hated Stanley Kubrick's version of The Shining, calling its lack of character arc a tragedy, and saying he could do without all the Children of the Corn sequels. Nevertheless, he encourages new filmmakers to adapt his work by offering young directors the rights to his short stories for just $1. In the early 80s, Frank Darabont paid his buck to adapt The Woman in the Room and gained some screenwriter cred by writing films like A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and The Blob. Bolstered by his success in the business, Darabont approached King again, only this time asking about The Shawshank Redemption. Evidently, King enjoyed Darabont's take on The Woman in the Room so much that he sold the Shawshank rights for a mere $1,000. However, King never even cashed the check. Instead, he had it framed and gave it back to Darabont as a gift. Darabont has since gone on to direct other adaptations of King's books, including The Green Mile and The Mist, but he almost lost his shot at Shawshank just as soon as he got it. After writing the script for the adaptation of Shawshank Redemption, Darabont sent the screenplay to Castle Rock Entertainment, the production company run by Rob Reiner. Reiner had successfully directed 2 Stephen King stories before, Stand By Me and Misery, and loved the script so much that he offered Darabont $3 million to take it off his hands. After all, Darabont had only helmed one actual movie at this point, a made-for-TV endeavor called Buried Alive, so Castle Rock also promised to finance any film of Darabont's choice. However, the young director wouldn't change his mind, taking a lesser sum and the directional duties that went along with it to create one of cinema's most cherished movies and long-lived career behind the lens as well. Taking the lead. Though he wouldn't be directing the movie, Rob Reiner did have a hand in the casting, offering the role of Andy to none other than Tom Cruise. The two had worked together in 1992's Oscar-nominated A Few Good Men. While the superstar was definitely intrigued by the project, he didn't want to work with an inexperienced director like Darabont, even though he'd later worked with him in 2004's Collateral. After Cruise passed, the role was offered to other celebrated stars such as Tom Hanks, Kevin Costner, and Nicolas Cage, all of whom said no. Eventually, the part made its way to Tim Robbins, and now it's pretty much impossible to see anyone else in the movie. That wasn't the only case of casting twists in Shawshank. In Stephen King's original novella, the character of Red was an Irish-American guy with, appropriately enough, reddish-grey hair. So, when thinking about who to cast in the part, Darabont considered 2 of his favourite older white actors, Gene Hackman and Robert Duvall. However, neither actor could accept the part, so that's when Castle Rock producer Liz Glotzer suggested going with Morgan Freeman. Darabont loved the idea and Freeman signed on, eventually earning an Oscar nomination for Best Actor. And sure, his hair wasn't red, but Darabont got around that by writing a joke to explain the nickname.
Why do they call you that?
Maybe it's because I'm Irish.
If you didn't get the joke before, now you do. What's in a name? When it comes to long titles, The Shawshank Redemption is a bit of a mouthful.
Why are you calling the thing The Shawshank Redemption? Nobody can say that.
Of course, the name could have been a whole lot longer, as King's novella was called Rita Hayworth and The Shawshank Redemption. Darabont didn't change it for linguistic reasons. Instead, he altered the name because he didn't want to mislead casting agents or actresses into thinking it was a biopic on 1940 star Rita Hayworth. Hayworth's main role in the film is as a poster covering up Andy's secret tunnel out of prison, but early on in the production process, Darabont received a slew of resumes and headshots from actresses interested in playing the title role, as well as an agent who represented a supermodel trying to get into acting. He later said in the film's commentary track, "That told us how carefully that agent had read the script and how much hot air floats around Hollywood from time to time." And it also inspired the title change. Hitting it big later. These days, pretty much everyone loves The Shawshank Redemption, but it wasn't a huge box office success when it first came out. The movie earned just $18 million in late 1994, and then another $10 million when it was re-released into movie theaters in early 1995 after landing 7 Academy Award nominations. Fortunately for film fans everywhere, the movie finally became a hit on home video. Upon its initial release on VHS, Warner Bros. Manufactured and shipped 320,000 copies of The Shawshank Redemption to video stores. Despite competition like The Lion King and Forrest Gump, The Shawshank Redemption became the most rented video of 1995, eventually grossing about $80 million in rentals, and has lived on as an unshakable piece of Hollywood nostalgia. Saying thanks. At the end of The Shawshank Redemption, after Andy and Red reunite, there's still one last moving moment. There's a dedication that reads, "In memory of Alan Green." So, who is this guy exactly? Well, on the director's commentary track on the Shawshank DVD, director Frank Darabont explained that Green was his first ever agent. As Darabont explained, in the 80s, he was a set dresser on low-budget movies who wanted to be a writer, and it's very hard to get an agent to believe in you on that level. But when Darabont met Green, he discovered a friend and an ally. Now, sadly, Green died of complications from AIDS right before Shawshank started filming, and that's why the director decided to pay his friend tribute. He said, "I wanted to acknowledge not just his significance to my career, but also that he was an incredibly decent, much loved, and much missed person in the lives of those who knew him." So while Alan Green had exactly nothing to do with the actual movie, there's a reason his name is so prominent in the dedication line. Thanks for watching. Click the looper icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.